Hello, everybody, and welcome in to episode 48 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast. I am Lucas Dorton, joined by Nick Doetkott once again here. Super Bowl Sunday, right around the corner, folks. We had to get this episode out. We did last year, so, got to make it a tradition. Do it 2 years in a row. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a fun episode. Like I mentioned, we did it last year, made a bunch of predictions.
I think we both picked the Chiefs, right?
I think we both picked the Chiefs.
You picked Damian Williams to get Super Bowl MVP, right?
I did.
Should have been right.
I did. I should have been right. I got screwed there. But nonetheless, Patrick Mahomes won it anyways. But here we are. Here we have it. Mahomes, Brady, Andy Reid, Bruce Arians. There's a lot of headlines on this one, and this is a fun Super Bowl because
First home Super Bowl.
First home Super Bowl. Brady's going for his 7th, trying to cement any doubt that people have at this point. And Patrick Mahomes is trying to continue to climb to that length and to try and become the best out there right now. So first off, Nick, I got to ask you, what, in your opinion, we'll get to predictions in a second here, but what are you most excited for in this Super Bowl?
To watch TB12 do TB12 GOAT-like things, baby. Let's go. It's Tom Brady at Super Bowl. I mean, that's the two words just belong together. Tom Brady Super Bowl. I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah, no,
He's been in 9 Super Bowls, and all of them have been within one possession, except I think the Rams one, which was an awful game. That's the only Super Bowl that Brady's ever been in that has not been a very entertaining game.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for kind of the reasons that I brought up before. Mahomes, Brady. Obviously, we got a taste of it in the AFC title game a couple of years ago, but now we get to see it on the biggest stage. I think
this is easily the most I've ever anticipated a Super Bowl in my entire life. Because, well, one, we'll get to it, but I put $30 in Tampa Bay at the beginning of the year with 16 odds to win the Super Bowl. So I told everybody to win it all, and everybody called me crazy. Well, so if they win, I make $480, and I put 5 on the Chiefs. So if they win, that covers the bet. And I'm a big Brady fan, so as soon as Vikings are out, I'm all Tom Brady. Well, so my second favorite team, if you want to call it that, is in the Super Bowl. So I got that riding for me. And they got Tyler Johnson and Antoine Winfield Jr. as well. Not to mention, I don't mind the Chiefs. It's fun watching Patrick Mahomes in that offense. I love me some Tyreek Hill. And honestly, this is probably one of the most anticipated Super Bowls we've ever had, in all honesty. I mean, it truly is. It's 2 very good offenses. It's the best quarterback of all time and the one guy who looks like he might be able to one day become that, going against each other. Honestly, I don't really know how you get much better than this.
Yeah, you can.
I'm confident it will be, but I'm just hoping it's a good game. Like, if it's not, it'll totally ruin everything.
Yeah. So first off,
I'm kind of hit or miss lately. So.
That's right. First off, I guess we'll just get into the first prediction here, and this is the biggest one. Final score prediction. Obviously that we're not going to be done with the podcast in 5 minutes here. We will talk about other stuff, but might as well just get right into it here. Who do you have winning? Final score prediction, and why?
33-30 Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to win, but I'm not picking against Brady. I picked Tampa to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. Everybody called me crazy, but I believe in Tom Brady. I had not picked Tom Brady to lose a game in like a decade. Well, I started doubting if that would come true, middle of the season when they had that stretch. And then coming into the playoffs, I actually picked the Packers to make the Super Bowl. So I went back on my word. And going into the Saints game, I did pick the Saints. The first time I picked against Tom Brady that I can recall in my entire life. So going to the Packer game, I said, I don't know how they're going to beat them. They shouldn't. But I'm picking them because I'm not picking against Brady again. And look what happened. They beat him. And honestly, quite honestly, they beat him kind of convincingly. They not necessarily. Green Bay definitely made it close at the end, but Tampa controlled the whole time. Now, Kansas City, I think, is better than Green Bay, but I don't see how they're going to lose. Kansas City, that is. But I don't care. I'm picking Tom Brady because I don't pick against Tom Brady. And he's going to get it done. He's going to get it done.
Now, folks, let me let you know, Nick Doetkott also said the same thing when they played the Saints and the Packers. I don't know how the Buccaneers are going to win this, but, they might, and they have, so maybe he's on to something.
I did end up picking New Orleans doing that game, but after that, I said, no, I'm not picking against Brady ever. Not again. I'm not doing it again.
I'm going to give my final score prediction, 33-28. I almost said New England. Not New England. Kansas City. I think Kansas City is going to win this. I think they will. But having said that...
over-under. So I got 63 and you got 61.
So let me say this much. I am picking Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think they are the better team, and I think they will probably win. But having said that, I have been shown you do not pick against Tom Brady. Now, the only time that I have really seriously picked against him was last year when they played the Titans. I didn't think they were going to do much in the playoffs, and they didn't. They lost in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom Brady is showing his old self this year, and it's extremely tough to pick against him. And it's not easy, and going to a Super Bowl your first year with a new team is not an easy thing to do, especially as a quarterback. But he did it. He proved all the people wrong. But I think this final hurdle is going to be a tough one to beat. And for that reason, I'm picking Kansas City. I think Kansas City will win.
By the way, I have 63 total points. You have 61. The over-under is 56.
Okay, so it looks like we're both taking the over there. I would think. Buccaneers have a good defense. They do, but going against Mahomes, Mahomes makes a lot of defenses look silly.
There's not a defense in football that can stop the Chiefs. With that being said, though, Brady's not what he used to be, but at times he still darn near is. The only Brady's the 43-year-old Tom Brady is inconsistent. That's his flaw. It's not like he cannot. He can throw it downfield. Yeah. He can do everything he once did. He just doesn't. Almost. He's just not as consistent this year. That's why the Bucs are 11-5. But the times he has looked good, this Buccaneers offense has darn near looked like the best in football. The only team that's looked anywhere close to the Chiefs offensively this year is the Packers and the Buccaneers in a select 4 or 5 games. And thus far, besides the second half against Green Bay, Tom Brady's looked pretty good. And, yes, he had an abysmal second half, but him and the Bucs played so well in the first half that they still won, despite the fact he threw 3 interceptions in the second half. Now, you can say, the Packers didn't get it done, but, at the end of the day, Buccaneers did what they needed to offensively in the first half, and like you said, Tampa's got a good defense, and they held. Now, the Chiefs' defense ain't no slouch either, but I'd say Tampa's definitely got the advantage when it comes to defense. And in a game where it's two of the best offense in all of football, what's going to decide it is whichever defense plays the best. The chances that it's literally everybody scores like darn every possession and who gets the ball last is very unlikely. Mahomes did do that once, Texas Tech and Oklahoma in college, and then Mahomes versus Goff and the Rams 2 years ago was somewhat that sort of game. But it's most likely going to come down to a defensive stop or a turnover of some sort. Whichever defense can get that is probably the team that's going to win. So we'll see what happens. But I guess I'm just kind of going on a tangent here. But I guess the key, the X factor for the Bucs is the D line, which quite honestly won them the game last week. So David Bakhtiari, the Packers left tackle, was out, and it clearly showed. The Buccaneers had 5 sacks, 3 from Barrett and 2 from JPP, I believe. Well, it sounds like not only is Kansas City going to be missing one tackle, they might be missing both, including Eric Fisher, who's very good. And if the one way to beat Mahomes, the one way to beat any quarterback is to pressure him. And if JPP and Barrett can do that against Mahomes, it's going to be hard. Now, Mahomes is, quite honestly, the best quarterback against the blitz like we've ever seen. The dude's literally, his numbers against the blitz are unbelievable. He's so good against the blitz where if you even think about blitzing the guy, you're an idiot. So considering they might be able to pressure him without blitzing is key, is very key. And I think that is what's going to get it done for Tampa. The fact the defense is going to be able to hold him just enough to let Tampa's offense get 33 and win. If Tampa needs to score 40, I don't think they're going to win. But 33 isn't. If Tampa can hold KC under 33, I think they'll be fine.
Sure. You kind of touched on it a little bit, and I mean, we're going to get both sides here. So who will be the you kind of mentioned a little bit, like I said, with the X factor. So when I'm thinking X factor, I don't want you to say, oh, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. Well, obviously, give me somebody on both sides that this guy is maybe people aren't looking at that could have a huge part in their respective teams winning for both sides.
I would say Leonard Fournette definitely for Tampa.
Okay.
Now, it depends how much they use him and Ronald Jones. For my sake, fantasy football playoff potentials, I hope Ronald Jones gets a little more touches. I could use that. But Leonard Fournette has clearly been he's been the Fournette we've seen in Jacksonville with Tampa in the playoffs. He's looked really good. And if they can get production out of him in both the run game and the pass game, it's definitely going to help. Because, Kansas City obviously has plenty of weapons with the receiver and the tight end. If you can add the running back along with that, they're going to be very hard to stop. And then Kansas City, you got Hill and you got Kelsey, who are the best tight end in football and probably the second best wide receiver in football. And by the way, the people who somehow try to take that away from Mahomes are idiots, just to throw that out there. Just because you have good guys doesn't mean you're not good. Anyways, so who's going to be the X factor besides those two and Mahomes? Well, if I got to pick one offensively, I honestly don't know. It could be anybody. It's just one person needs to step up besides those two receivers. But I think the X factor for Kansas City is going to come defensively. You need somebody to step up and make a big play. I'd say Chris Jones probably.
Okay.
If you can get to Brady, and the way you're going to stop this Tampa Bay defense is to get to Brady and specifically up the middle. Outside pressure doesn't normally do that much against him because he's just a genius in the pocket. His pocket awareness is so good. But if you can pressure him straight up and get in his face, it's hard for him to succeed. It always has been, especially because he's just not that mobile. So I'd say the X factor for Kansas City is going to be a defender. I would go with Jones.
For my both sides, I'm going with two people on the offensive side of things for both sides for the X factors. Tampa Bay's side, it might be that little Scotty Miller guy. I think if Mike Evans is honed in on and Godwin, Antonio Brown, obviously you got to watch him. I don't know if he's going to have as big of an impact, not necessarily because he can't. He was obviously injured in the Packers game. I don't know as far as his injury or how he is physically side. I don't know if he'll have a huge impact, but if I'm looking for an X factor guy, and he had it in that game against the Packers, the second half or the first half and the first half touchdown, Scotty Miller, that was a ginormous reason. I'm not saying it's the only reason Tampa won, but it is one of the biggest reasons as to why they did, is they got that touchdown. And Scotty Miller was the reason. Short guy, super fast, can make plays, has done it all year for Tom Brady in Tampa. So I think it might be him. And now going on the Kansas City Chiefs side, the wide receiver, you mentioned it, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, those are the big two. And they might be doubling both of those guys for most of the game. So like you mentioned, who's going to step up? Well, Mecole Hardman. Everyone talks about Tyreek Hill, his speed. Mecole Hardman is one of the fastest guys in the league as well too. And not only does he have an impact on the receiving game, he also has an impact on the punt return kickoff game too.
And honestly, special teams might determine this game.
It could. And Mecole Hardman's a great returner. He had a couple return touchdowns this year. He had one against my Miami Dolphins on a punt return. Mm-hmm. So I think that guy could potentially be the X factor for the Chiefs.
And to follow that up, I think, to follow that special teams thing up, I honestly think the kicking battle is huge.
Yeah.
Now, Harrison Butker is coming into the year, I'd say is the second best kicker in the league behind Tucker. However, he struggled with, is it extra points he struggled with this year? He's like made all of I think he's made down near all his field goals, but he struggled with extra points. But he's a pretty solid kicker. Well, Succop's been really good as of late too. I don't know if I really trust him from 50 plus much, but Succop's been really solid. Now, obviously these offenses are good, and if one of them is really struggling to get touchdowns, that might be the death of them. But you have 33-28, I have 33-30. Now, essentially 33 would be 3 touchdowns, 21, and 4 field goals. 30, like I have, would be 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. I'm not necessarily saying that's how they get to 33 and 30, but that would be the most logical way of getting there. So that's a lot of field goals. And if one of these kickers misses 1 or 2, it's probably going to lead to their team losing. So I think the kicking is going to be really, really huge. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of points scored, and if you leave, every point is going to be valuable. And if you leave points off the board by missing kicks, and along with that, giving the other team good field position, that's not good. So I honestly think that the kicking battle, and I have 33-30, and I honestly think it might be a game-winning field goal that wins it. I really do. So I think the field goal kicking in general, but specifically field goal kicking is going to be huge this game. I really do.
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree with you there. I think special teams and the kicking especially could be the main storyline as far as the whole game.
And, special teams is really the thing you never prepare for, And honestly, I'm not saying teams don't build for it, but you build your team around offense and defense, right? Well, a lot of times with evenly matched teams, with 2 high-powered offenses, it comes down to a special teams play here and there that really decides the game sometimes. So I definitely look for Hardman in the return game, Succop and Butker. Special teams could determine this one.
Super Bowl MVP.
Tom Brady. And honestly, it's not just the Brady fan in me. For one, quarterbacks almost always get it, whether they should or not. Granted, Julian Edelman won on a Brady Super Bowl team, and I believe Deion Branch did as well. But the Buccaneers and the Chiefs both. I mean, the Chiefs have Hill and Kelsey. Let's just say the Chiefs win. I mean, they have Hill and Kelsey that are going to split them up. There's so many guys on each of these offenses that do things. Tampa Bay especially. You got Godwin, Evans, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. There's just so many guys that contribute. I find it hard to, and in order for a non-quarterback to win it either needs to be a really low-scoring game and a defender to do really good, or a guy just absolutely balls out, gets like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns or something. And I don't see that happening with the deep teams these guys have. So I see it being Brady.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm picking the Chiefs to win. I think it's going to be Mahomes. Last year, obviously, I picked Damian Williams. Probably should have been Damian Williams, but Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback ended up winning. I would be led to assume this year, I think that's probably how it will be too. I think Patrick Mahomes will win. I think he will be deserving of winning it. Who knows? Maybe Mecole Hardman has a big game and then he wins it. I don't know. But I would have to go with Patrick Mahomes, I think, winning the Super Bowl MVP for me.
I'm glad we have a different pick this year.
Yeah. I think we both had Kansas City last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, just to toot my own horn here, I picked Tampa Bay over Kansas City to start the season at the very beginning of the season. So if Tampa
He's got a lot more riding on this.
If Tampa wins, I will be correct.
Yeah.
I win about $530 if Tampa wins. So
decent.
Plus, I'll probably win my fantasy football playoff. things too. So Tampa Bay's done a lot for me.
I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Obviously, we both talked about it a little bit for our own reasons. We've kind of covered all of the grounds for the Super Bowl as far as X factors, MVPs, who we think's gonna win. What do you think? I know a lot of people are bringing it up. I don't buy into it, not even in the slightest bit. But does Tom Brady retire if he wins or loses a Super Bowl?
Not a chance. I've been telling people 4 years. He's got 2 years left. He's got 3 years left at least. 4, blah, blah, blah. I've been telling people 4 years. People don't listen. The dude has told you with his own mouth that he's not retiring. Believe him, for goodness sakes. He's literally said with his he's said it over and over again. He has no plans to retire. People are like, oh, he's going to retire. Well, really, what makes you think that?
What
the fact that dude literally told you the exact opposite. It doesn't. And why would you think a guy's going to? Oh, he won, so now he's going to retire. What do you think? He has 0 Super Bowls. He's won 6. If he was, it's not like he's playing for a ring yet. Like it's not like, oh, I just got to get 1 ring before I retire. He's got 6 for goodness sakes. No, there's not a chance. He'd have to die. He'd have to break both his legs for him to retire.
I agree.
So no, it's not happening.
No, I agree. It's a dumb
There's a better chance Patrick Mahomes retires after the Super Bowl than Tom Brady.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, as far as the Super Bowl episode goes here, I think we're about wrapped up. What do you want to bring up? Anything
One more
else?
thing. So I was watching Speak for Yourself, right?
Yep.
Earlier with Marcellus and Nacho.
Yep.
And they were pretty much saying what quarterback has the most to lose. Well, and they were split. And honestly, I just curious to hear your thoughts because, I mean, obviously, no, I was going to say, well, it's clearly Mahomes. And then Nacho mentioned the whole Brady-Belichick thing, which I honestly think is stupid. To me, Brady's clearly more important than Belichick. Even if you wanted to argue that Belichick's the better coach, well, the quarterback's more important anyways. Now, if you wanted to argue that, you could say Brady's got a little more to play for, but I honestly think Mahomes has much more. Not that it really matters, but in your opinion, who's got more to lose? I would say it's Mahomes because Brady's already won 6. If he loses, well, he's a 43-year-old who just lost to one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. Whereas if Mahomes loses, obviously he's got a long ways to go before he ever gets to the GOAT, at least in my opinion. But it looks like he's got the potential to do it. Well, if he loses straight up to Brady, and then this will probably be the only time they ever meet in the Super Bowl, he'd be 0-1 against Brady in the Super Bowl, and he'd have 1, and Brady would have 7, and I don't know if he'd ever get there. So to me, Mahomes has more to lose. Again, not that it really matters, but what would your opinion be?
I would probably agree with you. I think Mahomes will be the one to have the most to lose here, I think.
And the most to gain.
And, yeah, exactly. And the most to gain from this. You know, if Tom Brady...
That's debatable, I guess. I mean, Brady could win with Tampa will look impressive, but I'd say Mahomes is the most to gain and most to lose.
Yeah. You know, if Tom Brady loses a Super Bowl, like you mentioned, well, he already has 6 of them. No one's close to him in Super Bowls.
And he's already lost 3, and he's still considered the GOAT by anybody who knows what they're talking about. So
Right. Yeah, and then Mahomes obviously has a long career, and it's not like his career's done after this year, but if he loses, obviously the head-to-head against Brady and the year setback of not winning a Super Bowl is going to be rough.
And, no, obviously I really want Tampa for all the reasons we discussed, but I don't mind Kansas City. It would not be the worst thing in the world if they won. I'd feel good for them, you know. I don't mind Kansas City at all. But even if they do lose, this is the team who's going to rule football for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's going to duplicate what New England did for 20 years. I mean, they literally made an AFC championship like 70% of the time. But this is Kansas City's 2nd straight Super Bowl. It would be 3rd if it wasn't for the fact that Brady and New England beat them because Chris Jones or D. Ford had the offsides that didn't even affect the play. And even, like I said, if the Chiefs win this, that would be 2 in a row. I'd probably pick them to win it all next year. Well, maybe. I don't pick against Brady very often, but Kansas City is going to be the favorite next year, whether they win this or not. And they're probably going to run the league for at least another 5 years after this. So if Kansas City wins this, they could really be starting a very powerful dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point.
So there's a lot riding on this game. I hope it lives up to the booking because it looks like It looks like it's going to be one of the better Super Bowls we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I agree. Well, anyways, it was fun. It was a good time. Nice. Keep it nice, short, and sweet. Maybe you're watching this before the Super Bowl starts, so we're keeping it short for you. You don't have to watch an hour-long podcast. 25, 26 minutes here.
Yeah, the game itself would be long enough. So.
Absolutely. But anyways, folks, thank you for listening to this episode 48. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow myself at Lucas_Dorton and follow Nick at Doetkott. You can follow our official Twitter page at DandD_podcast. Be sure to follow all of those. Follow, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to be on an episode in the future, certainly let us know because we'd love to have you on. New faces are always great to have on here. But anyways, we'll be coming out with a new episode shortly after the Super Bowl. Get reactions and stuff for that. But for now, as for Nick and myself, until next time, we are out.